Hey guys, it's Chad. Welcome back to Griffith Woodworking. This is part 2 in my video series on my flip-top workbench for my miter saw. If you haven't already, go back and watch part 1 on my channel. Let's pick up where part 1 left off. We've just finished the frame for the flip-top on the underside of the workbench top. Now that I have the boards in place, it's time to go ahead and start cutting the top. But I'm going to go ahead and start here and cut. I've already started a little bit here, but I'm going to cut just past right here where the bar is going to go. And I'm going to leave the rest of it intact. That way I can install everything and then continue cutting after the bar's in place. But if I put the bar in now, I wouldn't be able to cut through because the bar's there obviously. So hopefully this works. This is the moment of truth. We'll see how it goes. Basically, I'm using this gap between those two boards to know where I need to cut. All right. Now I've made it to the very top, so now I'm going to rotate it and just start cutting along the top, just past where the bar is going to go. All right, now that I know where my line is going to be that I've cut, I've already cut it a little bit with this, but that's not wide enough. It doesn't give me enough room when I flip it. It might cause a little bit of, it might catch a little bit, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little bit of a wider cut with my circular saw. I've set up my fence here. I've measured to the spot it needs to go. So I'm going to cut to just right here past where the bar is going to be underneath, and then we'll cut the rest later on. So the next thing we need to do is I need to cut the little tiny casings for the holes that will hold the main heavy bar in place for when it flips. Now these are just going to be 1.5 inches long. I need 4 of them because there's 4 pieces of wood underneath there, 1.5 inches wide. So each one, I need 1 for each board. So I have a little bit more than I need, but I'm going to go ahead and cut off 1.5 inches for each board starting now. I don't have my vise yet set up on my table to hold this in place, so best thing I can come up with right now is a bunch of clamps. And I'll be cutting with just a normal hacksaw. There we go. Now I have my 5/8 inch steel bar here. I only need it to be about, I think 29 inches long. Yeah, 29 inches long, but it's a 3-foot piece. So it's 36 inches. So I need to cut off about 7 inches. So I'm gonna give it a shot and do this with my hacksaw. We'll see how well it goes. If it doesn't work, well, I'll try to come up with a different plan. Wish me luck. So I started to cut my bar with my hacksaw, and I got it started a little bit, but it was going to take way too long. So I decided to go ahead and grab my DeWalt saw with a metal blade on it. We'll give this a shot, see if this works any better. Now that I have all the casings cut, we can start putting them in all 4 of the boards. That way, we can start putting the bar in and getting this thing wrapped up. I had to take out those spacers, the little washer spacer between the two, in order to get the cut across on the top, because I didn't want to cut into my spacer. So I now have to figure out a way to get it back in there in the right location before I start putting anything through. So what I'm going to try to do is use this scrap piece of the bar that I cut off and stick this up in there and see if I can get it stayed in the right place. And then I'll put my spacers or my casings in. Let's see if we can get it done. That right there. Want to use this drill bit to get it up in there. See if it'll work. All right, got that one in place. Now I'm going to clamp it together really quickly just to make sure it doesn't fall back out. Just clamp it together here temporarily. That way it won't come out. Now I can put my casings in. Oh yeah. Both sides on that one. Now let's do it on the other side, and then we're ready to put the bar through. I ran into a little bit of an issue where I can't install my steel bar into the hole because that board is in the way. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to drill a hole through here just so I can get my bigger bar and stick it through and make it through all the holes. So I'll go ahead and get that hole drilled right now. I drilled from that side just to make sure I could get close to where it needed to be, since I could go through one of the holes. Now I just have to drill an even bigger hole right there just to make sure I can fit it through. Well, that was fun. See if we can get that bar through now. Halfway there. Oh, please line up. There we go. Through it. Yeah. All the way through. There we go. It's in. See if I can show it to you here. This side. And on that side. All the way through. And on that side. Now that the bar is installed underneath, I can finish cutting the top to separate all the pieces to allow it to start flipping. I still have this in the same place as when I did my first cut, so hopefully it's the same. I'll test it real fast. Yeah, it slides right in there. That's where I'll start the next one. Goggle up. I'll just have to cut the very back or front when it's flipped. I've already put the right size drill bit in my drill. So now I just have to drill the hole in the right spot. I want it to be pretty neat. As good as you can do. Well, as about as good as I can do. All right, let's start cutting. Ow! Hit my head! I'm gonna draw, this section has to be a little bit thicker of a cut because of the angle of the board that's on the edge here. It'll be sticking out a little bit further. So I'm actually gonna take 2 cuts with my jigsaw here. All right. See if it works. Huh. Now, I forgot I had my clamps on there. I got to take those clamps off. It's keeping it from twisting. All right, moment of truth here. Let's see if it rotates all the way. Look at that. Oh, that's perfect. I have to trim up a little bit on the edges here. But right here is where the miter saw is going to go. It's going to sit down here. These should be, hopefully I designed it to where it's clear of the bar. It'll sit up enough to where it'll be all right. Boy, that would stink if I messed that up and it didn't fit in here. All right, next thing we do, install the miter saw.